Welcome everyone to another edition of Play It Through, and on this edition is Raid 2020, brought to us by Color Dreams. You can probably guess why this one is one of my early 2020 Play It Throughs. In it, it's kind of a cyberpunk-themed game. In the year 2020, there's narcotics everywhere, and you're going to stop it by taking out this evil drug lord known as Pitbull. Like all Color Dreams games, it's not very good. However, this is actually one of the better Color Dreams games, I dare to say. It's just knowing kind of what you need to do. In the first level, our goal is to destroy all of these drug peddlers that are kind of hanging around the docks. Pretty much every enemy you come to, you're going to want to destroy. If you don't destroy all the enemies by the time you make it to the end of the stage, it just loops you back around and you get another chance. The thing is, a lot of enemies don't spawn the first time. Only certain ones can be on screen at the same time, so a lot of the game, you can actually just go back and forth on the same screen to get some new enemies to appear. Stop inside this building and you'll get the jetpack, the very, very useful jetpack here. We're going to use this to actually go up into the air and pick up the boots. If you grab the boots and actually walk over mines, you can walk over 3 of them before they end up hurting you again. There's a lot of enemies, either explosions or the mines themselves, that will instantly take out your character, so you gotta be very careful of them. You don't have to take out the flying enemies in this level, just the drug peddling guys on the bottom. Here I get this gun upgrade, which is this weird wave gun similar to the one from Fester's Quest, and it's about as useful, that's for sure. You gotta time it just in the right spot in order to take out the enemies. Slowly inch your way over to the right side of the ending of the dock here, so that you can try to get all 3 of these green kind of stormtrooper guys to appear, so we can take them all out before we have to kind of make another loop. There's a useful gun upgrade if we actually keep the jetpack for the first loop. Here we go inside. This is actually the end of the level, but since we haven't destroyed all the enemies yet, we get looped back around. The very first door here, you have to actually take out the flying enemy usually here in order to get the next of the actual drug guys to show up. Here you can see he appears, and once you leave the room again after taking him out and come back in, there is another guy who will appear, another one of those stormtrooper-like guys that we're going to need to take out. However, keeping the jetpack to this room allows you to fly up and get this gun upgrade, which is a much better gun overall. It can help you out, take out the few last enemies that we have in stage number 1. There's a total of 20 of the drug dealer enemies that you have to take out, so just kind of keep a count in your head of how many you have left so you know what to look out for. There's only those few that will appear in that one room right at the beginning. They're always spawning in the same spots, it's just getting them to spawn sometimes. At this point, I really only have the end here, so we're going to watch out for the mine, stay far away, take out this guy located right here, and then continue over to the right, and if no one else shows up, we've cleared up all of the enemies and we can go through the door and move on to level number 2. Now level number 2 changes up the gameplay as we actually have to move around a swamp while dealing with some rocks. There's logs that will instantly destroy you, and you need to focus on taking out these helicopters. There's 2 types of the helicopters. There are the regular ones like this one that's attacking me now, and then a special one that you see near the end of the stage. You can kind of fake out the helicopters a bit. Once they spawn on screen, if you're able to quickly kind of get away from them just enough where they're still on screen, but you're a good distance away, they'll kind of glitch into this pattern where they just go up and down, back and forth. In fact, I was able to get 2 of the helicopters, the special ones, the more difficult ones here, stuck in this loop, and I can take them both out at my leisure. You can destroy projectiles of their weaponry, but a lot of times it's better just to avoid them if you can. It'll take a little bit, but just hold down the fire button. Thankfully, you're able to do that in this game. You don't have to mash it, and eventually you should take down these helicopters. Continue over to the right. Hopefully you'll get the 3rd of these special copters to appear, so at least we've now taken care of all of them. We just gotta focus on the other normal copters. This is the end of the level, that opening between the 2 piers, but instead of going there, we're just going to focus on taking out the rest of the helicopters, and the way we're going to be able to do this is kind of just going back and forth. We're going to go all the way over to the left here and get another one to spawn, and then we can go back to the right. Just keep repeating the process until you've taken out all of the copters. Be sure to grab all of the health. You can actually overfill your health meter. You can see it in the right side of the screen. That's something that's pretty common with these Color Dreams games. Just be very cautious of the rocks and the logs. They're instantly going to take you out. You'll lose all your health no matter how much you have, and that's really the most annoying aspect, I think, about this game, is there's just a lot of instant death enemies that can really ruin any kind of run you have going in the game. If you haven't destroyed them all, just keep going back and forth. There is 9 of the copters that you have to destroy in the level, as well as 3 of those special ones that we destroyed right near the dock at the end. Once you have destroyed the 9th and final copter, you can head towards the opening in the docks. Just be sure not to run into the docks, as that once again can hurt you, and we're moving on to the next level. Now, this is a difficult stage. There is a fair amount of enemies, though most of them are going to be able to spawn on you. There's some special equipment that we can get, some vehicles that we get to ride that can help us out. As soon as we begin, start off by firing at the soldier guys. There's the sniper-like guys in the air that we can't really deal with yet, but we'll get an ability to do that later by getting into a flying hovercraft. You need to take out not only the guys in the air, but all of the regular soldiers on the ground, the giant cannon shooting ones, these green guys, as well as all of those little blue UFO cage-like things that are flying around. You need to destroy all of them as well. Go inside this door here and you'll appear on this platform. Be extremely cautious of the giant greenish explosion that will instantly kill you if it hits you, so try to do your best to outsmart it. Thankfully it moves pretty slow as it's chasing you around, so you can kind of trick it a lot of times to get into your line of sight and take it out that way. Take out any enemy you can from afar. If you get an enemy stuck in any sort of loop where they're not coming at you, use it to your benefit to take them out. While we're on these platforms, be sure to stay on them and take out the few of the sniper enemies that you see along the path. On the bottom portion here, we're going to drop on down eventually in the opening. Be sure to watch out for any explosions and take out all of the enemies that have spawned right here, as we need to enter in to the door located here. This will give us our hovercraft. Now we can fly all around the area and blast enemies. Use this, ignore the motorcycle, though you can ride on the motorcycle if you wanted to do that. It's best though just to keep the hovercraft, as we actually have to destroy another hovercraft right here. Sometimes it won't even move, and you can just attack it from behind and keep firing. Don't go past it or above it, as it'll come after you, but if you attack it from behind a lot of times, it won't even move. This is the end of the stage, but you know there's a few enemies we haven't quite defeated yet, so we're going to make another loop around. We walk into the building with the hovercraft, and we get to keep it at least once we make that loop back around. That way we can destroy the rest of these kind of enemies hanging out in the sniper areas, as well as any of those blue UFO guys that didn't appear yet as well. Those ones have a tendency not to appear all the time. As you can see in what ends up being my case, only a couple of these guys are near the end. I know there's 2 left that I need to destroy. There's a total of 14 of those blue flying saucer guys. The ones at the very end can be tricky to spawn because there's a lot of other enemies potentially. There's worms as well as the firepower coming at you. There's evil green explosions, which are one of the worst enemies. I lost so many attempts just because of those things. Once you have destroyed all 14 of them, destroyed the hovercraft and 8 of each type of the soldier, we're moving on to the next level. Now this level is a bit different. See this ship that we have to destroy? That's your only goal, is to destroy the ship. You can consistently get health drops from destroying the other ships that it is consistently spawning. If you keep moving forward, you will come to some power-ups that can help you out. However, you want to make sure that you avoid the dangerous mines that are kind of floating around with the spikes on them, as they will destroy your ship. What I found the best strategy to do is keep moving forward, of course dodging when needed, and turning back every so often and firing at the ship, especially once you've gotten the upgrade, as it can do a little bit more damage. It's not a glamorous fight, for sure, but it's not too difficult, considering this is all the level is. You don't have to destroy any of the other ships, and staying ahead of him, a lot of times his projectiles and everything he's spawning just go instantly off screen behind him as you're moving forward. While it is not necessarily the most enjoyable battle ever, thankfully it doesn't take too many shots to take him out, and we're moving on to the next stage. This stage, though, the second to last level, with the final level just actually being the boss encounter, involves us actually having to get a key card, and then entering into a door to make it to that final layer of pit bulls. You don't have to destroy any certain number of enemies, but just destroy anyone that's going to potentially get directly, in your way. Jump over any of the mines or walk in between them. It's such a weird kind of animation with walking, but you kind of get used to it when you're able to play a bit and be able to get in between the mines that you need to. Go inside this door here, you'll fall out onto the top here, and then you'll want to head over to the left side. I'm taking out the extra enemy or two here, trying to get some extra bit of health as I'll need it in that final boss encounter, which is kind of a free-for-all. Thankfully, there are some health items coming up located in the underground cave area that we have to navigate in just a little bit. Keep going along the very top to the far left side, eventually you'll come across that green key card, which is what we need. Now, we need to head through the cave area to get to where the location of the door is. Heading down here and inside, you'll find a few enemies along the way, but also be able to pick up plenty of health pickups as well. There's a few kind of entrances and exits through this area. Go over to the right, take out all of the enemies. Some of them will end up getting stuck if they attempt to jump towards you. It's just the way that the game is kind of programmed. When you make it over to the right here, we're going to drop down into this opening. You have to mass jump a little bit probably because of the spiders making all the webs. It's a bit difficult to kind of get through, but slowly navigate your way through and then go down the first of the openings. Take out the enemy here and then go down immediately the opening right there on the bottom level and do the same again in the next room. Here, drop on down, you'll see this giant ant enemy. Stay over to the left side and then jump in the air with short jumps and fire at the ant to take it out. The ant will drop the key that we need in order to enter into Pitbull's final lair. So we have to get the key card first and then the key located here. Thankfully though, this is near the very end. Take out that last guy on the bottom. Going out the right side here, you'll be back at kind of the main area. Go to the right just a little bit. There's a few more mines, so just be cautious of them, and then go through this door right here. Sometimes, just because of the way the motion goes, it can be a little bit difficult to get in. Now, for this boss, it's a lot of firing and moving. It's a weird fight here as you're trying to blast him. He just keeps moving back and forth, keeps spawning enemies, projectiles, whatever as well. You can destroy them, and they will drop health. So it's a good idea to destroy as many of them as you can while continuing to fire. Like I said, you can hold down the button at least, so that does help. If you see your health getting low at any point, focus on the little guys and pick up those extra bits of health if at all possible. Do not let him run on top of you and just stay on top of you, as your health will drain really quickly. This fight is nerve-wracking for sure. That key card that we picked up earlier on, we're going to be using it on the computer in the back once we've taken out the boss. Just keep on focusing on getting health pickups when you can, and blasting in the direction where he is, and eventually he will drop and we can insert the card, and then sit back and enjoy the ending to Raid 2020. Remember kids, winners need no drugs. What an ending. I know for one I'll never do drugs. Thank you, Raid 2020. You've convinced me wholeheartedly. But with that, that will wrap up this episode of Play It Through. I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course, I hope you enjoyed.